Уважаемые коллеги, просьба вас всех занять свои места. Мы начинаем буквально через минуту. Звук мне отрегулируйте, пожалуйста. Раз. Нет, хорошо. Уважаемые коллеги, просьба занять свои места. Мы начинаем буквально через несколько минут. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We're about to start in a few minutes.
Bir, ikki, uch, to'rt, besh. Bir, ikki, uch, to'rt, besh. Bir, ikki, uch, to'rt, besh. Besh, bir, ikki, uch. Hozir g'alag'a urdi. Foydasi yo'q baland.
Раз, два, три, четыре, раз, два,
Bir,
раз.
ikki, uch, to'rt, besh. Bir. Bo'ldimi?
1, 2, 3. Уважаемые гости,
Dear guests, please kindly take your seats. We'll start our
Уважаемые
dear heads of delegations, dear colleagues, dear friends. Salam alaikum. Good morning to everyone. We welcome you to the opening of the second industrial trade fair in Aprom, Central Asia, in excellent, warm, and hospitable Tashkent. So the speakers of the plenary session, Mr. Sardor Umurzakov, Deputy Prime Minister of Uzbekistan on Investments and Foreign Economic Relations, the Minister of Investments and Foreign Trade, Denis Manturov, Minister of Industry and Trade of the Russian Federation, Danyar Amangildiyev, Ministry of Economy and Commerce of Kyrgyz Republic, Vatan Kerabian, Ministry of Economy, Republic of Armenia. Also, Mr. Dmitry Kharitonchik will participate in this session. Deputy Minister of Industry, Republic of Belarus, Veronika Nikishina, Director General, Russian Export Center, Nazim Efendiev, Director General, Metal Invest, and Alexander Rezanov, General Director of Yokohama Electric, and Irina Gavnisiani, General Director of SNF Group Vostok. Thank you for being with us. Also, Sherali Kabir, Ministry of Industry and New Technologies of Republic of Tajikistan. So, we titled our session as Technological Breakthrough Space, and the global experts are discussing that the most promising technologies are being transferred from Europe to Asia, and also industry technologies and market forces, and the process has started and no one can stop it. And so the importance of Central Asia with its young and educated population with natural resources and unique geographical location is very important. And INAPROM Industrial Trade Fair demonstrates and engages so many interests from many industries, from many sectors to work in Central Asia to find many long-standing partners. And today we have an excellent opportunity to hear the leaders of their sectors to learn about their proposals, ideas of the role of Central Asia and their role in the global industrial space. And so, Mr. Sardor Umurzakov, please, the floor is yours. Thank you, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear participants of our, how do we call the event? Is it a plenary session? This is the main plenary session today. So first of all, I would like to welcome all people present here. I welcome you from the neighboring countries, from Russian Federation, from other partner countries. And we are very glad and very happy to see all of you here. And as it was said before me, a bit more than 1 year ago, we also gathered here for the first time. And Denise was here as well. And we do hope that we'll be able to turn our initiative to be a regular platform. And today, I would like to say with the confidence that this event is very important, and we don't actually turn it into the regular event, but it is not the event but platform now. And the platform is not just the title, as we call it, Industrial Trade Fair Central Asia, INAPROM. It says a lot. And actually, we have a clear understanding of that today in the global world, including those tendencies we have and including those risks we have for the economic development, and also considering that we are still in pandemic and the consequences of those are still felt all over the world, and we are still realizing that the global economy has changed and the market relations also have changed. And the essence of the international trade also has changed. And here we have the clear understanding that the only cooperation, the only collaboration and partnership, considering competitive advantages of our economies, and also considering the factors of complementarity, and we have plenty of those. And the only such an approach would help us to ensure the steady development of our economies and improve the standard of living, create jobs, transfer new modern technologies, innovative solutions. And the most important, we have the huge, I cannot even explain how huge capacity we have in our industrial cooperation. And those events, which are happening over the 2 years in the global economy, actually they dictate us that there are great opportunities which we must use. And these include a broad range of sectors and areas. Here in Uzbekistan, we cooperate with the countries neighbors of Central Asia and Kyrgyz Republic, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, with Russian Federation, with many other countries like Belarus. And so we work on bilateral basis for several years already to identify those growth hotspots of our conjunction between our economies and to achieve some breakthroughs in our industrial cooperation. And this brings its fruits. And here in Uzbekistan, we have approved and agreed the roadmaps, which include specific projects, specific areas, and under each roadmap, we have the backup analysis and factors influential on success of these projects. And we believe that opportunities are endless. And the more we deep in this work, we understand that the horizon is enormous. We cannot even see that. And so we have representatives today of the business of Uzbekistan. We represent representatives of the ministries and departments. We have the heads of sector associations. And so they are all here today. So our colleagues who have arrived from other countries could find for themselves the specific partners, ideas, and specific projects as well. And so I would like to draw your attention, dear guests from other countries. Actually, when you visit the fair today, I would like to urge you to pay your attention towards the stands of the regions of Uzbekistan. Here we have the leaders and heads of our regions. Towards the stands of the regions of Uzbekistan. Here we have the leaders and heads of our regions, and we have our colleagues of at least deputy head of a region. And so I believe that those who make decisions are all present here. And so while you're visiting the stands of industrial or regional nature, I would like you to pay your attention and work more systematically to learn lessons, to take the experience you have and employ that. As we conducted our meeting last year, actually we reviewed the work done. You don't need to do that actually again. We studied all the factors to be influential towards the opportunities to identify new cooperation ways or paths. And here in our stands we have the readily available projects, and with their feasibility studies, with business plans, with the proposals on how to place these industries, and with the specific proposals on co-financing. And so we believe that this is the most important approach that we must undertake today, to be specific, to be result-oriented, and to ensure practical implementation of those ideas that we have. This is the first. For the second turn, I would like to draw your attention. The Central Asia, which is the home for about 70 million people, is the great market. It's a great opportunities, and the most important today. So over the last 5 years, as we see that in Uzbekistan and feel that as a real thing. So today we have a real target towards mutual understanding, the search and identification of the common growth points over the great number of issues and areas, and those challenges which we experienced in Central Asia before, including political ones, economic ones, and the others, and those barriers we had between the states, and those barriers towards trade, on the way of trade, on the way of movement of people and goods. They are all in the past, and today we are the market with great opportunities. And today we set the specific objective in Uzbekistan, and we have clear understanding that we would not be able to ensure the breakthrough, I would stress, breakthrough and advanced growth of the economy without similar movements in our neighboring countries and changes. And so we worked jointly over the different methods of cooperation with Kazakhstan, with the Kyrgyz Republic. We developed the financial promotion instruments and tools for our joint projects through the joint investment companies. And for other areas, we work with Kazakhstan, with Turkmenistan. And we believe that conjunction of our capacities of Central Asian countries open up a great opportunity, not just for the economies themselves, but for the partnering countries as well. For Russian Federation, this is our traditional and the largest partner for Uzbekistan, including trade and investment partner. So here I would like to urge the participants present here and all those who are not here in this room, but who will communicate with you. So please, let us try to identify the specific areas for matchmaking of our capacities to employ that and to implement specific projects. We have the specific stand of the Ministry of Trade, Investments and Foreign Trade. You may visit that and ask for any information to share ideas. If you don't find the partner, it's good. Still, please ask for help, and we'll be happy to help you. And this is the key and principal position of the political leadership of Uzbekistan. On behalf of the President of Uzbekistan, we would say that our objective is not just to get our own results, to protect our own economic interest on account of other countries. Not at all. Our objective is to identify such solutions that would ensure implementation of all interests of all partners based on exclusively mutually beneficial platform. And it is possible, and life proves that it is. And we work with all countries actually who are represented here today. And on the bilateral level, we do work, but maybe it's time to look more multilaterally. And it's important just from the very first day of our fair to set up the mood towards the practical results and outcomes. And we are the governors of the regions and their deputies, ministries, deputy ministers, heads of sector associations. We're all here today to provide you our assistance and to address those issues which haven't been addressed yet. And we have discussed today, just 5-10 minutes ago before entering the room, and we found out that there are some moments, some issues which are still lagging behind of our attention in pharmaceuticals, in some other areas. So they can be addressed anyhow. It's possible to address those, and we'll do so. Please don't be silent. If you have some factor which confuses you, or please ask, and we'll take it into account. And for sure, we'll discuss that in contact with you, and we'll definitely find a solution. So, here in Uzbekistan, we realize that the only through strengthening of our industrial and other potential, through development of value chains, and considering the logistics challenges we face in Central Asia, particularly in Uzbekistan, through creation of industries of high marginal products, high value products, demanded both in local and international markets, we could reach this success. We can ensure steady economic growth. And so those issues which are related to the joint interest. At one of the meetings at the high level, the president of Uzbekistan, Mr. Mirziyoyev, proposed and he introduced the terminology actually. The general space of industrial cooperation and localization. So I would urge all of us, think of development of such a space. Not just by signing off some declarations and papers, no, but through the practical and specific everyday work on specific projects and specific areas, I'm pretty sure will be successful if we work specifically in such a direction. I've got prepared my paper to present you today as my opening speech. I didn't read it actually. I believe that the direct dialogue could be more beneficial for all of us. And yes, but thank you very much, Mr. Omurzakov. I would like to add more to what you have said before, and you know that, and colleagues will see that the space of localization and industrialization is out there, created in the pavilion number 4, where the Ministry of Investments and Foreign Trade created such kind of a showroom. It's not just a showroom. Actually, this is a demonstration of the potential market and outlet market for all present here. We demonstrate what we already have in terms of localization and what we could propose. All our sector associations and big enterprises, our giants, and they have worked through and prepared their specific projects on industry localization of that specific products that they have currently been imported from other countries. This is a great opportunity, and I believe that we are, as an Uzbek government, are ready to be a partner, not just in our words, but in real business by co-financing these projects through the Fund for Direct Investments of Uzbekistan. So we kindly urge all of you, this is one of the key and main area. However, we have many main areas. Here, I would like you all be proactive and to set up the tasks without leaving Tashkent, without specific results. So please don't leave Tashkent without specific results. If we set up this objective, we'll reach that. And this is our key task and objective. And we are here today on behalf of Uzbek government to help you. Once again, I would like to thank you for coming to Tashkent. Once again, I would like to urge all of you to proactive activity here in the fair. And I would like to promise from my behalf and making sure that we are here today to ensure that you leave this country with successful results and at least to make the first step towards your success. Thank you.
Thank you, Sardar Oktamovich. I didn't have time to tell you yesterday that over the 20 years of our trade fair activity after the first INNOPROM, we have received great positive feedback from the exhibitors and participants who came to Tashkent. It was to such an extent that in the exhibition business, actually, if 100 leads per day of good contacts, that's already a good sign. But practically all our participants, large companies, medium-sized companies, they told about many useful contacts they have met. And today we have seen you so passionately promoting the Uzbekistan for the investors. And I guess I would have such a brief question. What is Uzbekistan's key, unique competitive advantage? Because all Asian countries actively promote themselves. What, in your opinion, is available only in Uzbekistan? The key unique feature of Uzbekistan for investors. Okay, so I will not tell you what is available only in Uzbekistan, but of course I could tell a lot about the rich natural resources and those conditions that are created for investors, for representatives of business circles, both for internal, for domestic and for foreign investors. But I guess the key asset, in my view, and the key factor of success for entrepreneurs from other countries, from our country, in Uzbekistan, is the human capital. Because investment in human capital is the cornerstone of the reform strategy of the President Shavkat Miramonovich Mirziyoyev. Over the past years, a lot has been done in order to invest and continue investing into this capital, in order that the youth, which is 65% of the current population, they are educated, that they're professional, that they learn the modern skills and professions, and they meet the modern days requirement and all the high standards that today's professionals face. And we are talking about traditional specialties and the new specializations. So the key thing is that the human capital, the youth, is the driver. And Uzbekistan today is more than 35 million people. Among CIS countries, it's the second economy, second market in terms of volumes, of number of consumers. And we are tasking ourselves. It's not like we want to take a certain ranking, but that progressive movement that has started 5 years ago and which is accelerating today with adopting the strategy of developing New Uzbekistan in January this year. It is the strategy for the next 5 years. We definitely believe that over the next, I will not tell you how many years, because otherwise I will just disclose all the secrets. Uzbekistan will be not just the second market, but will also be the second economy among the CIS countries, and we are absolutely convinced about it. But we should not be just chasing the numbers or figures. So today we should be using the human capital that we have and all other opportunities. I'm sure that those present here are closely following all the changes that are happening here, and they know about all those opportunities. And a lot of those here, I'm sure that they were part of the first Tashkent Investment Forum, which took place very recently. All those opportunities have been disclosed there, and the participants were able to hear them firsthand from the head of the state, who is the initiator, who is the generator and implementer and the controller of all the reforms that are taking place. And he does not let us give us a slack, so that we do not allow any process to go slow. So all these conditions that are multiplied and coupled with the human capital that I've talked about are the factor of success, not only of the country, but also of the businessmen, of the business circle representatives, both internally and those of our foreign partners who are already working or are planning to work. But even though if they are not planning, but they should be working in Uzbekistan, with Uzbekistan, and in partnership with us. And therefore, that would be my answer. I would fully agree with you. Wherever I walk around Tashkent, I always have a feeling that I'm in a university campus. There are young, educated people everywhere. Thank you very much, Mr. Murzakov, Mr. Denis Valentinovich. The space of Central Asia through the eyes from Moscow. The word floor is yours. Dear friends, dear esteemed colleagues, participants of today's event, Mr. Sardar Oktamovich told about that this is not a site or platform, and I have full solidarity with him. And we initially planned to hold this event last year. We were assuming that this would be some exhibition of achievements of industry of Russia, to show in Uzbekistan our achievements. But then we came to an understanding that this would be not as productive, but the name itself, Innoprom, it already holds in itself those things that Mr. Murzakov mentioned when he referred to the words of Mr. Mirzioyev regarding to what extent the industry should be represented in its global cooperation format. And Innoprom is this international industrial cooperation. So it's already in the term in itself. So those events that were held last year, and it showed its interest, demonstrated a lot of interest for development. And this year we see a greater number of participants and those interested parties interested in developing further cooperation relations. So special thanks go to Mr. Umurzakov for a very warm welcome of our platform, as you said, and of our delegation, delegations of other countries that took part in INNOPROM. And I would like to say that this is indeed not a political story that we're discussing here. It is a completely economical, practical platform that helps to build new relations for cooperation, which would form the basis for development of economies of our countries. And in this case, if we're talking about Central Asia, and if I guess Mr. Umurzakov may not have mentioned it directly, about the fact that Uzbekistan is the central economy in this region. And I guess the most valuable fact that was mentioned very slightly, that besides the fact that it is a growing economy, it is also a fast growing in terms of demographics country, with the increment of annual increment of around 10% of population, right? 1 million per year. It's 1 million per year. That's a lot. And what you said, that 5 years ago you laid the foundation was laid, so you are continuing to develop intensively in terms of the population growth, and everybody, that's something worth envying for everyone. And talking about our trade economic relations, then it is only the countries of Eurozone, CCO countries and BRICS countries. Last year, the increment was 34, 32 countries, depending on the country, and that's that means that in this area, the main points of growth are forming. And if we take in cumulatively those economic and trade unions that I have just mentioned, that would be approximately half of the global economy. And it is that half that lays the foundation for future and shapes the economic trends for future. And we see what is happening today in the Western Europe, in the United States. It's a hyperinflation, and none can remember anything like that, or at least it's been for more than 30 years. It has not been observed in those countries. The prices are rising quickly, especially commodity goods, and that it really affects the development of the industrial sectors and the entire economies. And what is happening, as was mentioned, in general around the world over the past 2 years, it is the impact of the pandemic and what's happening today in the global economy, in the world. It gives us a hint on how we should restructure our logistics, our industrial cooperation, in what areas we should develop our economies. And that would include both, as was mentioned, is the de-dollarization, and now it is we would have to add now de-euroization, that is switching to our own currencies in order to be maximum independent from the point of internal settlements when supplying goods to each other and establishing mutual cooperation. It is always the basis for reliable trade and economic ties is the industrial cooperation, which should be formed. And I fully agree with Mr. Murzakov here that the optimal form should be found through joint projects, which would shape a robust foundation of our bilateral and multilateral trade economic ties. And that would form the basis for future the stability of economy and sustainability of results, which is the basis. And today, as we talk about our bilateral agenda with Uzbekistan, we can see the prospects for development of what was mentioned, that's pharmaceuticals, and what is on the agenda, that is automotive, agricultural machinery, that's food processing, those areas where both countries have competencies and where which could be used for forming the capacity building for those competencies. Now, there was also mentioned, among others, the topic related to natural resources, where there is an opportunity for development, developing the competencies in the sense of opportunities of our enterprises from Russia that would be interested in developing the projects in this area. And such areas are quite numerous. That's mining, and in particular developing the projects for mineral fertilizers, and we will talk about that separately as well. And I can say that those development institutes that have been formed in Russia, and they have built strong ties for over many years with the development institutions of Uzbekistan, and they are aimed at, like I said, for using more in terms of payments in local currencies, and which would allow a maximum degree of independence for developing the projects. And of course, we count on the fact that the projects that we will be developing jointly with Uzbekistan, that would include, among others, a strong impetus to the multilateral context, and in general for the countries of Central Asia, and to move on further to third countries where there is prospects for developing the markets. That would be Afghanistan, Pakistan, and other countries where there is an intensive development of relations of Uzbekistan and other countries of Central Asia. And we believe that there are interesting prospects and areas here where we should find the points of growth of supplying our joint products with Uzbekistan to those. And we expect that these trends will be maintained, that we have laid foundation for in the previous years. And INNOPROM 22 should give an additional impetus to new contacts that we should develop, and I count on support of these initiatives. And today, on the booths, as was mentioned, the regional cooperation is in fact the foundation of that, and we should definitely develop on the federal agenda the contacts, support, assist in terms of supporting the existing and prospective projects, but only the regional ties being developed. I would say that it is more intensive, and today we've had the talk with the governor of Sverdlov region. 150 people is a strong delegation. That's that means at least a third will calibrate their existing contacts and so we're supporting the existing ones, and there will be a new cooperation basis will be formed. 10 regional booths are presented this year, and without the results of the previous years, these colleagues would not be able to participate. So it is not something that is forced or some mandatory thing to participate in INNOPROM. This is very voluntary, and as we can see, it is a movement towards to further development. I should say that our regions are quite actively promoting their enterprises, and the same is happening in the part of Uzbek colleagues, which are represented today on the regional booths, and the enterprises are also aligning with that, and this year I believe we will see additional results. That's why I would like to wish everyone success, good luck, new contacts, new projects, and we will support them as much as possible and promote those ties and relations that will be established here today. And when going out to the streets of Tashkent, it is always a very friendly, a very kind faces, and it is always those contacts that are formed. I can say that they fluently speaking Russian, and in general in Central Asia we can see this very active desire for developing contacts, and of course it is a very good thing that we do not that it is not, the translation is not needed. Everybody can speak the same language. It is the foundation for success and new development. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manturov. And as you know, more than 40% of our participants at the fair are new exhibitors, and they, for the first time, enter the market of Uzbekistan and for the first time visit Tashkent city. And when we discuss with Uzbek colleagues, and it is very obvious when you discuss with the colleagues of the Ministry of Investments and Foreign Trade, Uzbek colleagues say as follows. Of course, you are Russians, you are very close to us, but the key objective is to say that business only. We can buy machinery and equipment from anywhere, from Turkey, from Korea, but you are Russians. You come here and you invest money, you establish production facilities, but not just so. And our companies, unlike KAMAZ or any other, they cannot open their representative offices to make market survey and to localize for a more of a medium-sized company in the new market. It's quite a challenging thing. What do you think of the Uzbek society, its readiness to accept new companies, and the opportunities for Russian companies to establish here? Whom are you asking? I'm asking you, Mr. Manturov. I believe that you wanted to ask Uzbek companies and government, but I would like to give you one figure, that our existing investments, according to the official statistics of the Central Bank of Uzbekistan, is $10 billion. And as you have appropriately mentioned regarding the supplies of equipment from all the different countries, and Russian investments They also could be from some overseas countries, considering the very broad industrial cooperation with other countries that Russia has, where our companies are represented. And so we can plus to this amount at least 30% of that. And I believe that this is a great fundamental proof that the interest of our companies to Uzbekistan is been rapidly growing, and the interest is just huge. I believe this will be incremental in the future also. One example I can give you is today I mentioned for mineral fertilizers. They plan to have some kind of trilateral cooperation, including Kazakhstan for phosphate or fertilizers. As for pharmaceuticals, at least two companies which are presented here in INAPROM are going to sign their tentative agreements on investments to Uzbekistan, including insulin and other substances. So, this is the trend that is going to be growing in the future. And we see that our colleagues, they establish a foundation for that, which is adjusted somehow depending on those demands and requirements which we receive from our economic operators from Russia. It's impossible actually to establish a platform right and forever. And I believe that for everyone, this is a live process, a living process, I must say, that when it is evolving in the new sectors of economy, when new challenges arise which demand specific address, including regulatory approaches. And here we see that the government of Uzbekistan and its president, Mr. Shavkat Mirziyoyev, support our initiatives. And we would like to send our best appreciation to Mr. Umurzakov. We have contacts almost once a week, and we support those projects which are being developed at the moment. And our colleagues, they're always ready to appreciate our initiatives. Mr. Manturov, what would you recommend the medium-sized Russian companies which cannot engage your involvement into promotion of their interests in Uzbekistan? We have our platforms for that. A corporation or a joint venture or a Russian a foreign center. And so we have some tools which already exist, and we can utilize those formats. We have trade representative mission in Uzbekistan, and they work not just with the larger companies, but we are primarily aimed at establishing contacts with medium and small-sized businesses. This is the rule of the law, rule of the economy, and it is proven by the numbers of the global economies and figures to say that the basis for any economic empire development is the small and medium businesses. And more stable it is, the more stable overall economy is. Then here we are just at the very beginning of development as a Russia. We just form the foundations and we develop the support tools. And then at this time, we already started to push up the local small businesses towards the international markets through those development institutions which are active today and are good platforms, and they could be used for such a movement towards the Uzbek market as well. Thank you, Mr. Manturov, and I hope that INAPROM will take its also bring its modern, will bring its modest contribution towards this development, and you participate for the second time. And Tajikistan is presented here for the second time. You have the outdoors exposition, and you have your own stand with the most relevant topic for modern industry. So I give the floor to you. How do you see the Central Asian cooperation from Tajikistan? Thank you very much, Mr. Umurzakov. Thank you very much, Mr. Manturov, dear colleagues and participants of the forum. It's a great honor for us to participate in this forum. And this year, despite of that hosts have provided us rather limited area for the exposition, however, we brought our stands to shore to demonstrate that the stage of today's Tajik industry development, according to the statistics that we have for the CIS countries, the industry of Tajikistan has been demonstrating the highest growth of 20%. And starting since this year, according to the initiative of our president of Tajikistan, we have announced a 5-year industrial development program. And we have identified for ourselves that over these 5 years, the industry of Tajikistan should grow twice. And without cooperation, without re-establishment of the historical relationships with our historical partners, this wouldn't be possible. Therefore, I believe that as of today, we have a clearly formulated program. We have the roadmap, we have the milestones and covenants, and each actor of this program has the specific roles and responsibilities. As Mr. Umurzakov has mentioned today, the issue of localization and re-establishment of the cooperation ties should consider the efficiency of the process, and I believe that over the last 2 years, specifically with Uzbekistan and with Russia, we have managed to demonstrate a good tendency for development, specifically in mining sector. In Tajikistan, we have some companies, we call them Tamuhush, in the north of our country, which historically in Soviet Union there were only 2 plants like that, one in Ossetia, one in Tajikistan. After the Soviet Union collapsed, they stopped operation. However, thanks to our efforts, Eurazes Holding also provides us the serious support for launching the mining, and the first practice actually shows that the process is efficient. Al Malik mining plant, we started to process their byproducts, and you can see that the real cooperation ties, they are beneficial not just for the producing countries, but also for the countries which just utilize the byproducts which wouldn't be used anymore in different way. So we discussed localization, and according to the industrial development program of Tajikistan, we place the great emphasis over development of the mining sector. 93% of Tajikistan are mountains, and therefore we have almost all metals listed in the Mendeleev's table, and therefore we need investments, we need technologies. And so we're confident that according to the localization program that has been established in each region of Tajikistan, we could take a firm position and cooperate with all countries in the region to re-establish our historical ties and relationships. So, about our advantages, as Mr. Umurzakov mentioned and Mr. Manturov as well, we have natural advantages, as we say in the East, that we are blessed by the God, and in the mountain areas of our countries, regardless the small land area, the cotton was growing historically, and then fabrics were produced and then exchanged for wheat and grain. And for growing wheat, a great large areas are required. But this is the advantage of one mountainous country towards the other countries which are producing different products. And the advantage of Uzbekistan is that in the very short and future time, our mining sector would satisfy the demands of the region, and we could become one of the key players on the global market as well. Just 1 week ago, our president opened a mining company, Talco Gold, and as for production of various mined products and metals, we can take one of the leading position. We have very good, promising positions. And when pandemic started, and when the logistic ties were hindered, we faced some difficulties in marketing, and we recently learned that our Uzbek colleagues, they are going to establish the plant for manufacturing equipment for mining sector. And this equipment could be procured now from our neighbors. Another advantage of our country is that we have 98% of power produced from hydro and green energy sources. And today's climatic agenda, which is very strategically important, gives another good advantage to Tajikistan, because in our mining sector we could employ and engage foreign investors. So we would like to urge every colleague, please visit Tajikistan. We are ready to work with you. We have great opportunities. We have good regulatory framework, and Tajikistan has worked out a great regulatory foundation for establishing a favorable investment climate. And according to the initiatives of our president and our government, we create a comfortable, competitive environment for our colleagues from Russia, from Uzbekistan, from other regions, for them to be capable to develop their businesses in Tajikistan. Sorry. Thank you very much. I would wish to all colleagues from Tajikistan. So, Mr. Mantrov, I would like to say, our colleague from Tajikistan mentioned that the area for exhibiting here has been quite small, and so not all companies managed to bring their products to the fair. We cannot fit into these spaces. Do you remember when we started and where we are today and where we need to move on? Maybe we need to think of expanding the areas. We have 28 companies which were officially invited, but more than 100 expressed their interest, and we've been given just a small area. So I heard your message. We paid this, we actually considered this and paid appropriate attention to that. I don't want to open all the cards, but we actually would like to expand our areas and spaces here in this facility, and the president of Uzbekistan made specific decisions, and it is included into the development of New Uzbekistan for the next 5 years. We believe we could have more capacities, and those will create better opportunity for the broader representation of not just those colleagues from those countries which are participating today. We see diplomatic corps today. I see very respected His Excellency Ambassador of Turkey. Maybe next year Turkey would become more active in participating in this fair, and we discuss today that we have great opportunities for joint cooperation and moving to other regions, bigger regions like South Asia. And today in Uzbekistan, we are very active on establishing direct physical entry to the Southern Asian markets. Our trade turnover with Pakistan has doubled over the last 2 years, and I would like to mention that goods are all delivered by road through Afghanistan territory, and today by vehicles, by trucks, we could bring our products to Pakistan over 2.5 days and to Karachi port over the 4 days. It's a great achievement we have never had before. Why don't we invite Pakistan and Afghani entrepreneurs next time? And so we've considered your message and will improve that in the future. Thank you very much, Mr. Umurzakov. We're very happy to work on this platform. We find this is like a great park, very beautiful landscape where we could enjoy the nature. Thank you. We wish all colleagues from Tajikistan to find your partners in Inaprom. Mr. Daniyar from Kyrgyz Republic, we invite you to present your views on how you see your cooperation and development in Central Asia and what position takes your country in the regional and global industrial space. Good afternoon, dear Mr. Umurzakov, dear Mr. Manturov, dear colleagues, dear participants of today's event. I would like first express our appreciation for being invited to this forum and for taking this opportunity to enjoy the opportunities provided during this fair. And the issue of the industrial cooperation is about the lack of information, the missing information about our opportunities. And I would like to express my solidarity with Mr. Umurzakov by saying that we must cooperate more tightly and we need to strengthen our economic relationships, not just at the political level. And as of today, as for the cooperation with Kyrgyz Republic, we are also the mountainous country. We have mining industry developed well, and over the independence, due to the fact that we had a good neighborhood with China, we actually established export operations, but industrial sector was suffering therefore. And then we decided to follow up the example of the dynamically developing Central Asia, and each country shows up a very high growth rates in economic development, and without industrial production, I believe it's impossible to ensure a rapid economic return. And we realized that in our country we developed a development concept and program for the entire economy and industry in particular. And as of today, we have a well-developed textile industry, and I also support the idea said before me that we need to develop in other areas with the partners from Pakistan and Afghanistan, and we very closely study this market at the moment, which opens up a great opportunity for our textile companies. And we work with Iran currently on developing our relationships in the industrial sector for re-establishment of those capacities which we used to have before in the country. We established a holding company, Kyrgyz Industry, and also another holding company was established. We call it the Heritage of Nomads, where we united all the licenses under one company for mining industry, and today we develop capacities and try to use our own resources and develop those deposits. So over the last 2 years, we have very good rates of development. We have good opportunities for the future. We have clear view, clear strategy where the sector would be developed to. And recently, as you know, we have accomplished just a peaceful divorce with Centera, and it's a good signal for the investors. I believe that in all countries of Central Asia, we see a removement of bureaucratic barriers and maximum facilitation of trade and removal of trade barriers. And I believe that with our partners, we are currently building up the relationships towards cooperation and development. And specifically with Uzbekistan, lately we've started to develop very dynamically our trade relationships, political ties, and as it was mentioned by Mr. Murzakov, we established Kyrgyz-Uzbek Foundation, which is aimed at strengthening cooperation and our mutual between our business societies. And I hope that the participation in this particular fair is a good opportunity, and we're going to use that in full. And a similar foundation we have with Russian Federation, and this has proven its positive outcomes in terms of different industries are being developed in our country. And so I am pretty confident that we must use this platform which we are being developing today, establishing, and we believe that next year will be more ready to expand our exposition and present our companies in this forum. Once again, I would like to express our appreciation to the organizers and the high hospitality level of Uzbekistan. Thank you.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel Joldoshevich. We would like to wish to the Kyrgyz delegation a very successful and efficient time at the INAPROM Trade Fair. I would like to ask a question to Mr. Vagan Kerebian. Armenia is not a part of Central Asia, but your presence here shows that Armenia has a great interest in this region. And our question is traditional: what is the role, what is the place of Central Asia in the economic strategy of Armenia? The floor is yours. Dear Mr. Murzakov, dear Mr. Manturov, dear colleagues and friends, first of all, I would like to thank for organizing this very significant industrial trade fair in INAPROM Central Asia, which is traditionally, we can say now, in my favorite city of Tashkent. My wife was born here. We have a lot of friends and relatives here, and I even have a small piece of property in Uzbekistan that I have purchased back when I was a businessman. I was planning to expand my business in this beautiful country, but I was unlucky and I became a minister of economy, so was not able to get back to Uzbekistan, but I have not given up on that dream to invest to Uzbekistan. And I remember back when I was here for the last time, it was in 2018, I had a feeling that Uzbekistan is an unopened country where there are great opportunities for making business, and everything contributes to that. So if necessary, I can give much more recommendations than even Mr. Murzak said. Right. And we are at the historical stage of new economic and political map of the world, and we can observe great risks and new opportunities. So the traditional supply chains are getting disrupted, not only of technology but also finance, and therefore security is becoming a direct risk for all of us. So under this notion, this food, climate, technology, logistic, industrial, financial, economic, and social security are becoming key. And I would like to mention some of them. I'm sure that we're all concerned about the explosive growth of prices, especially for food products, which increases the consumer basket growth. Even in the first 2 months of the 2022, the economy of Armenia grew by 12%. The poverty level rates are growing at fast rates. So the government has to take extra efforts to avoid the social calamities. So the government of Armenia is working proactively by distributing the excess incomes in the mining to agriculture, by increasing the investment to the regions of Armenia, and by contributing to the social sphere. We have significantly increased our investment in the healthcare, education and science, and the program of the Armenian government 21-26 and the Armenian development program for 2050 envisages strong industrial development in these 10 years by 2030. That's why we have, along these lines, we have invited many new enterprises. We continue to improve the business environment, including the taxation and customs and legal framework. And we understand that without stable logistical links with our main markets, we have high risks of developing our industry. That's why Armenia is participating between Armenia and Russia and Georgia, and with all countries of Central Asian region through railroad. We are confident that this link will strongly revive the relations between our countries, because it will significantly reduce the travel time. We have also started working on accelerating two transport corridors from Mumbai ports to Russia and Europe. We believe that this is very promising areas and will allow to increase the turnover of commodities between Southern Asia and Russia. We believe that these corridors can be used, considering also the regularity of the sea maritime transportation, and that would take easing the documentation barriers. And besides that, we also have great opportunities for increasing our own capacity and conquering new markets where there is a better accessibility of entrance. Dear friends, we should intensify our cooperation in these difficult times. Even though Armenia is a small country, it sincerely offers to use all the resources that it has. And this is primarily the human capital of Armenian people in Armenia and beyond, and also economic, infrastructure, trade and finance assets, and in a word, everything that is needed for successful implementation of successful projects. And in the end, I would like to thank the organizers of the trade fair, Ministry of Investment and Foreign Trade of the Republic of Uzbekistan, and the Ministry of Trade and Industry of Russian Federation for excellent organization of the event and for the warm welcome, which is always peculiar for ancient and young Uzbek population is famous for. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Karabian, dear colleagues. Today in the main plenary session, we have the participants of the key development institutes, partners that work in the region or only starting to develop their relations in Central Asia. We would like to request some of you to give brief speeches with comments and questions to identify some problem areas or priorities of the trade policy, taking the opportunity of having our heads of delegation present here. We welcome your comments. Ms. Nikishina, she's the head of this delegation, and Ms. Nikishin is the head of the Russian Export Center. Now, knowing that you have brought with you a great delegation of Russian companies, what are their plans? Are we really prepared to produce industrial products in Uzbekistan, our medium-sized companies? Ms. Nikishin, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, dear Mr. Murzakov. I would like to say we can see that in the recent years, a lot of attention is being. Sorry, no sound. The format of these relations is very diverse. The Russian companies are active in creating the industrial and high technology companies here in Uzbekistan. Industrial zones are being created in order to enable the Russian producers to create their industrial zones here. This will allow to more actively promote our products, and specifically for this region, it is the opportunity of a new technological breakthrough. We had 240 negotiations scheduled, including on the opportunities of localization. And those companies that have participated last year, they will tell us on how they will be, their growth will increase, and how they will contribute to the trade economic cooperation with this region. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Veronica. Mr. Nazim Efendiyev, Metal Invest. Here we don't have too many experts of Uzbek-Russian relations, and my question to you would be, what questions of industrial economic agenda between our countries you believe to be the most topical? First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Umurzakov and Mr. Mantur for implementing this idea. And even if we take the schedule of my meetings from last year, this year it is much more intense. The interest of people is genuine. We meet a lot of people here, and it is a great pleasure for me to report for the past period. We haven't been wasting our time, and we were completely following this concept of creating a common operational space. So, and I can just name two factors. This year, we have we invested into Tashkent metal processing plant. This is a unique growth opportunity in Uzbekistan. They produce the zinc-coated steel sheets. So it is this principle when. So this is exactly the case where there is a added value is being created here, and I would like to mention specifically that the government and President of Uzbekistan are there working proactively because understanding the export potential. This year, the president has signed a decree on the subsidies for supporting the exporters as a compensation of transportation costs when exporting to the EU countries, 28%, and up to 10% when exported to neighboring countries. The subsidies are a great boost, and you have rightly mentioned that our region has a great capacity on the one hand. On the other hand, it has logistical problems because we're away from the powerful sales markets. And in this sense, I would like to continue the topic of logistical structure, and would like to come up with a proposal. See what's happening. We have not aligned the tariffs between Russia, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan. That is, when we travel the greatest distance in Russia, we come to Kazakhstan, and the tariff increases. We come to Uzbekistan, the tariff increases more. But then this is not export transit. We are not the transit countries. We bring here the product. Do you want us to increase the tariff? No, I would like it to be uniform, to align it with Russia. So in Russia, we have to increase the tariff, right? We have discussed this idea actually with Mr. Banturov. I would like to have it a fair, leveled tariff, which would encourage the Russian producers to bring the products here, because this is not the first day we're exporting products here, semi-finished products. We've been here for the past 3-4 years, and we supplied up to 30-40% of the demand of the Uzmedkombinat in the raw material. And last year, some 300,000 tons have been supplied. It's up to 30-40% of the demand, and that significantly improves the quality of steel available in Uzbekistan. And that tariff is a pain for Uzmedkombinat, and that would probably stimulate and increase the inflow of the semi-finished products and raw materials coming from Russia. Therefore, today we are very actively working on expanding it. We have established a trading house, a single window, which would not only hot-rolled steel, but also pipe blanks and other blanks would be supplied to Uzbekistan. I guess there is no need to incentivize further. We understand the importance of this market, and thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Efendiyev. Thank you very much. I would like to very briefly note that your proposal is very logical, it's very correct, and we will definitely consider it jointly with our colleagues from Russian Federation, from Kazakhstan. We have the esteemed ambassador. I'm not sure if we have anybody from the government. We have, right? Okay, very, very well. We will work on it. We have the head of the Uzbek Railways here, and he will reach out to you and he will report on this. Thank you. That's how easy and how promptly things are resolved at Inoprom. Republic of Belarus, it is the second time it's participating in Inoprom Trade Fair. You know that it's a great day today. We have the Prime Minister of Belarus visiting here to Inoprom, and part of Belarus delegation are with Prime Minister, but Dmitry Kharitonchik, the Deputy Minister of Industry, have agreed. Mr. Kharitonchik, this is you have a great booth here, and the question is, what is the capacity you would like to present here?
Dear ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Ministry of Industry of the Republic of Belarus, and welcome for the opportunity to give and for the second time to showcase our opportunities here to you. I would like to mention with pleasure when I walked through their fair, I found out many interesting new types of products, not just of well-known brands like Kamaz and Maz, but also I constantly see new products or new brands which are being opened and developed, and they are all with high added value, high-tech products, and absolutely competitive. I believe that it's favorable to say that despite of difficult times, we managed to develop our competencies, but develop those as well. I believe this is very important, and today we've mentioned many times we are living in the age of global economic transformations, when the well-established economic ties are being changed, and their very vital search for new opportunities is everywhere. And this good fair, this good opportunity like Inoprom has a specific importance, and new sense today. From our behalf, I would like to say that we've brought to this fair new machinery, new products, and those developed with involvement of our Academy of Science, and our industrial manufacturers are also presented here. I would like to say that those are produced with high share of localization and cooperation with our Uzbek partners and companies, and we are very closely watching all the opportunities which are opened up by Uzbekistan from year to year, and we are targeted to move towards further deepening, expanding of our cooperation ties, and we believe that Uzbekistan is like a gate to the Central Asian region. And once again, I would like to thank you for attention and welcome to our national stand. We are constantly searching for establishing new contacts. I wish all of you new contacts as well and mutually beneficial contracts. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Mr. Kharitonchik. Now I would like to give the floor for the comment to Mr. Alexander Rizanov from Yokohama Company. He's been quite proactive in the Uzbek market and in Russia as well for the longer time. Thank you very much. Thank you, the participants of our session. On our behalf, as I would like to say that we are discussing today establishment of the domestic value-added chain, regional ones and international ones, global, and those would enable the countries of Central Asia to become independent from the external factors. On another hand, our company develops quite modern and competitive equipment. We are presented in 60 countries of the world, and I would like to say that one of the key elements for domestic value chain is the level of localization. And if the manufacturer, like our company, Yokohama Corporation, to be ensured with a reliable supply, and marketing of our products. And I would like to ask the question if the market is out there for our products. Thank you very much. Thank you for your interest in working in Uzbekistan. And as for localization and the support, including foreign partners and investors who are willing to participate in these programs, we have a great range of preferences and privileges, including preferential bonuses and those you have mentioned. And it depends on each individual case, depends on the type of product you are going to manufacture. And now I'm going to give instruction to the First Deputy Minister of Investments and Foreign Trade, Mr. Vaitov. He is specifically responsible for implementation of localization programs. Now I give him my instruction to contact you directly after this plenary session. I believe that during the mutual dialogue you'll find the answer to your question. Our session is coming down to the wrapping up, and I believe that many of the colleagues would like to sort their issues through your facilitation. Irina Galissiniani, Director General, SNF Group, Vostok. They are present in many countries of the world. I visited your website. You are always present, and where they have big chemical industries in India and China. What is the specifics of Central Asia for SNF Group? First of all, I would like to thank for participation, for invitation to participate in this event. And I would like to say that we start bilateral meetings after this plenary session with various companies, and we are interested in presence here. However, our presence has been not so active so far. We are conducting continuous monitoring of the current situation in Uzbekistan, and we've discussed a lot about logistics. And over this time, we see that many things have changed, and our industrial centers and our logistics allows us now to become closer. We are working in oil and gas, in mining, in agricultural sectors, and now we more and more feel the active governmental support Specifically, our project in agriculture. We are more engaged in agriculture here rather than in other countries. And we believe that our engagement in this project would facilitate to plant haloxion plantations in the dry Aral Sea bottom. And I hope this could helpful for agriculture as well. And without the governmental support, and I believe this project wouldn't go, then we are very serious. We feel dynamics, and thank you once again for the provided opportunities. Thank you, Irina. INNOPROM has been developing not just geographically, but in this content as well. We have newcomers in the fair. You could see the videos and billboards in Gelencik in September. For the first time, INNOFood Forum would be organized, and the advanced technologies for food tech, agrotech would be represented. As soon as agriculture is the great and important sector, and we invite you to INNOFood to Gelencik. And from the 4th to 7th of July in Yekaterinburg, we have the 12th international exhibition INNOPROM. We have the governor of Sverdlovsk region, Mr. Kubyshev. He has many meetings scheduled, and taking this advantage, we invite you everyone to Yekaterinburg. And now we announce the second INNOPROM trade fair open, and all heads of delegation, please join the VIP tour. Thank you very much for your attention.